Hey there, Sam. Now at the time when we install Node, it also provided us a subsidiary software called Npm. Npm stands for Node Package Manager, and as its name suggests, the primary purpose of it is to manage all the third-party modules or packages in our Node project. I'll show you what I mean. Suppose we're building a project, and our project is dependent on package A. In other words, we need module A in order for our project to work properly. And package A is dependent on B, and package B is dependent on C. Now traditionally, what we can do is to copy and paste the code for A, B, and C into our project. Not a big issue here, until later on in our project when we need package D. So package D is a big module that requires a lot of dependencies, much more than package A. Well, at this point, we could still install each of these individual dependencies manually, but it'll take up a lot of time. Is this the right way to do things? And the answer is, hell no. And shit could really go wrong when our packages requires an update. If we're installing all of this manually, we have to individually go through each one of them, copy and paste in the updated code, while making sure that the newly updated code is still compatible to the other packages in the dependency list. Can you see where this is going? We're going nowhere, but to the path where we're spending hundreds of hours just to install dependencies and maintaining them. Wouldn't it be great if we got a software that takes care of all of this for us? Surprise, surprise, that software does exist, and it is called Npm. And now, let's learn how we can get started with Npm. Similar to Node, Npm should be globally available in our terminal. For every Node project, the first thing that we need to do is to type in Npm Init. If the command npm is not found, you might want to reinstall your Node. Anyway, running Npm Init would ask us a few questions, and upon answering all of these questions, it will generate a file called package.json for us. Package.json is sort of like a manual for our Node project. It contains all the metadata about our project. So things like our project name, the version, description, the entry point, author, and license, so on and so forth. Package.json will also contain all the dependencies that our current project requires. Currently, there's no dependency. Let's try to install one. You can browse third-party dependencies on npmjs.com, where most of today's JavaScript third-party libraries are hosted there. I'll try to install a library called Axios, which is a promise-based HTTP client. To install a package in npm, we simply need to type in npm install and the package name, which in our case here will be Axios. Once we hit enter, npm will do its magic, and once it is done, we now see a new field inside package.json called dependencies, and Axios is listed in it, along with its version number. On top of that, you'll see that there are two new things appearing in our project root, the node modules folder and also another file called package.log.json. The node modules folder is where npm stores all of our project third-party dependencies. Let's take a look inside, and we see Axios is one of the folders. And you'll also notice that there's another folder called follow redirects, and we did not install this package. Where does it come from? And now if we look inside Axios, under its own package.json, scroll to the bottom under its dependencies field, surprise, surprise, we see follow redirects in it. So follow redirects is a dependency of Axios. So when we use npm to install Axios, npm will also look inside the package.json of Axios and install all the relevant dependency for us. Isn't that neat? That is the power of npm. So we don't have to do all this work by ourselves. Now that you know how to install a package, we can tell npm to update all of our packages by using the update command. Simply type in npm update, and npm will run its magic again. To remove a package, we simply type in npm remove and the package name. I'll remove Axios just for demonstration. And now if we go back to our package.json, we see that Axios has now disappeared from the file. Now there's another type of dependency called dev dependency, which stands for development dependency. And as the name suggests, this type of dependency is meant for development purposes only. In other words, dev dependency will not be installed in a final product. To install a dev dependency, we simply need to supply the -d flag to npm install. I'll try to install a tool called NodeMon, which is sort of like live server for Node. So I'll type in npm I, which is a shorthand for install by the way, and supply the -D flag and type in NodeMon. And as you can see, now NodeMon appears inside the dev dependency field in our package.json. And we can see that it has a lot of other dependencies because our node modules folder is now flooded with packages. The other good thing about npm is that if you want to share your project with someone else, you don't need to send the whole node modules folder to the other person. For the other person to install all of your dependencies, you only need package.json. So the other person will grab your package.json and run npm install, and that's it. npm will simply look inside the dependency list inside the package.json and install them accordingly. So now just for demonstration, I will delete my node modules folder and run npm install again. And as you can see, npm will install all the dependencies for us automatically. Now that we understand the basic of package.json and npm, we have still yet to talk about the package log JSON file that appears out of nowhere. We'll continue in the next video. I'll see you there. Key takeaway for this lesson: npm or Node Package Manager is a program that manages our project's dependency for us. npm will install or update dependencies and ensure that they are all up to date and compatible with each other. Npm Init will generate package.json for our project, and package.json is like the manual of a Node project. It contains metadata that helps npm to resolve dependencies. npm stores all the install packages inside the node modules folder, and dev dependencies are dependencies that are not used in productions and they are only meant for development purposes. That's it for this lesson, and I'll see you again in the next video.